Think fast. An angry, hungry mob of urban warfare gangsters is pounding on your door. There are 8 basic responses to this situation. 7 out of 8 of them get you and your family killed. Only 1 ensures you and your family live happily ever after. Do you know what that response is? If you can't answer that question, you have a responsibility to yourself to listen carefully to every word of this presentation and take notes. And shut down every other application on your computer but this one, to avoid a moment's distraction. Because the free information I share in the next 6 minutes is literally life and death information, with no exaggeration. I'm Jason Richards, now recognized as one of the world's foremost and well-respected survivalists. You're watching a video I wished I never had to make. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I'm an optimist by nature. I really wish I could come on here and tell you everything's fine in this country. I wish I could tell you to go back to sleep and enjoy another episode of Family Guy. But recent discoveries have told me, and soon will tell you, that kind of naivety isn't just misguided, it's dangerous. Think of it like this. When your friend is sleeping on a track and there's a train barreling down on him at 80 miles an hour, I feel I must do everything in my power to wake you up, which is exactly what I'm going to do today. And even if you think you've already awoken, prepare to learn that this rabbit hole goes a lot further than you think it does. Now, the information I'm about to share is extremely time sensitive, and information that unfortunately you cannot find anywhere else. Even on our beloved Patriot sites. There are many, many people who desperately need this information and are trying to watch this video right now. But bandwidth is limited, which means we will need to clear this site of people who don't belong. So let me speak directly to those people now. If you are a naysayer, a doubter, government shills, agents, Obama head, ditto head, or any other 2012 version of the useful idiot, I'm going to ask you to leave now. If you think that this country is on firm footing and can't be convinced otherwise, I'm going to ask you to step off this page to allow others who need this life-changing info to get it. If you think the notion of a currency collapse or economic disaster is no more than a conspiracy theory, if you think you are already prepared for any major disaster that may come, leave now and enjoy your summer at Camp FEMA. If you fall into any of those categories, I'm going to recommend you enjoy your quasi-hypnotized, mind-controlled, fluoridated, pharmaceutically induced state of artificial bliss. Good luck out there. You will need it. And for those of you who think you are prepared for the coming crisis, unfortunately, through no fault of your own, you may be in the worst position of all. Because the worst person you want to be around in a crisis is the one who thinks he's prepared but actually isn't. This may be harsh to hear. The truth is not for the squeamish. It never was. But if you've got a brain in your head and a heart in your chest, you know something's wrong in this country. That it's been this way for a while. And that the other shoe is about to drop. And not in years from now either, but in a matter of months, if not weeks. So I can spend all day hoping and praying for things to be different, but none of that will save anyone. From the fact that every day, with inch closer and closer to the day, the U.S. government will become mathematically unable to repay its debts. Economists have warned us about this for years, and it's finally here, the point of no return for our financial system. At which point there will be no choice but for nation-states like China to abandon the dollar under the pressure of investors. The U.S. can do nothing to prevent this. And it's not a matter of if it will happen, it's a matter of when. And when it does, you will see things start happening fast. Things 99% of the population won't understand. Quite simply, when U.S. Treasury bonds are abandoned by foreign investors, oil prices go up 3,000% in a single day as the dollar collapses. Yes, 3,000% in a single day. That is the same day that every current producer of staple foods for this country no longer turns a profit. their truck stop. Whatever food is left in the grocery stores is ransacked by a panicked mob. The rest is rationed by the U.S. government. Yes, you will walk into your local grocery only to find empty shelves. No Rice Krispies. No milk. In fact, no bread, no rice, no drinkable water. Empty shelves. Now remember, the food stamps are already on the brink of collapse. A program currently feeding 46 million of the poorest Americans, who will instantly be unleashed on the streets, many of them armed, looking for food anywhere they can find it. And that means your fridge. The moment the government has no treasury investment, that program is declared bankrupt as well. Really, just an admission of the current status, by the way. And if you're on Social Security, the president will regretfully inform you via television that those checks will no longer arrive until further notice. It's a simple equation, one that has been repeated throughout history. The shortages will lead to riots, and the riots will lead to martial law. You think I'm making this stuff up? Think again. Here's one of the world's most accurate economic analysts. One of the only economists who predicted the 2008 financial bubble burst with precision. Now says the 2012-2013 depression will blow that crisis out of the water. And who would know better about the coming collapse? Forbes magazine recently covers his prediction that there will be a crushing treasury collapse as early as 2013. And your government knows about it better than anyone, which is exactly why they've recently rammed through the barbaric National Defense Resources Preparedness Executive Order in the dead of night, which gives the government total martial law, powers over the population, in time of a crisis or peace. In short, the law allows a president to order you or your family, throw them into vans with a bag over their head without a shred of evidence, to seize your water supplies, your property, everything in case of a crisis. Without a hearing, without a trial, without asking permission. Posse comitatus. Protecting your constitutional rights to be free from military on your streets is long gone. Don't worry, folks. It's all for your own protection. And in case you haven't noticed, MTV is currently running government commercials showing martial law in action, pulling people out of their homes and into trains in the wake of a natural disaster to prepare the population. A drill they've been practicing in every major city for the past 2 years now en masse. So should it surprise any of us? On a business trip, Dale Bohannon discovered this. A soybean field turned into a mass grave, set up in secret by your government, with 135,000 plastic graves. Just enough to take care of the local population there, with similar grave sites spotted all over the country, still more yet to be discovered. Face it, the government knows exactly what's coming. The government is prepared, but they aren't prepared for your survival. The government is preparing for your orderly death. I tried to ignore it for a long time, but when friends in the military started telling me about the mass graves, totally real by the way, when I saw police officers openly stating that they are preparing for urban warfare, when I saw martial law drills taking place in every major city in the country, as the dollar collapses, I knew that it was time for my knowledge to begin to reach those who needed it most. I'm not one to brag, but only most salesman posers out there. I'm a survivalist, in the true sense of the word. I've gone months in the wilderness with little more than a knife and a water bottle, and not only survived, but thrived. Been taught to do so since I was 6 years old by my military-trained parents. I'm trained in martial arts and the use of a wide variety of firearms, and I've learned from the best in the industry. The survivalists who taught the survivalists to teach you, people like John Lahan. He's a loyal ex-military who fought in Afghanistan for 5 years. Before he came back home, he started his own elitist survival training school. But more importantly, I've learned from history, cataloged exactly what has happened when other countries have collapsed, figured out exactly how the individual was affected, who survived, who did not, and why. And I came to realize that nobody, and I mean nobody, was adequately preparing the American public for what is to come, even the patriots. While some techniques can help you survive for a day or two, almost nobody was preparing the public for the long-term nature of the crisis. Survival isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. And if you're not prepared to survive the 3 to 6 months it will likely take before any calm and order is restored, you might as well be dead. I began to look through what was being offered online as advice, and would almost laugh if it weren't so dangerous. Let's put it this way, 95% of the information you will find online will land its customers up, starving, in a FEMA camp, broke, in jail, or dead. But not before they and their family are assaulted or molested by food stamp mobs. In a situation like this, I don't want to be a hero, but right now I have no choice, because I know what's coming. And I know what people unprepared for disaster looks like, and right now, I'm telling you, The U.S. population is currently in store for an apocalypse of biblical proportions. And to many of you, I know that's just words. So let me break it down for you. Do you know what it's like to watch your children beg for water? Do you know what it's like to have angry rioters ransack your personal home, your kid's bedroom? To have grown men doing as they wish with your family, your children, your grandchildren, while you are forced to sit and watch and do nothing? Can you live with yourself? If you could have done something about it, but chose not to because you were too busy, too distracted, or just didn't make it a priority, don't let it be you. So the least I can do is take the information in my head, the information I know I can use to survive just about any crisis, which is why I took everything that I think you need to know and put it all in one place, a single home study course that prepares you for anything and everything that could go wrong, from peak oil to food shortages, to tornadoes to home invasions. So there are no more excuses for not being prepared. Decades of experience and research came together and became what we call the Family Survival Guide, filled to the brim with life-saving information being completely ignored by most guides out there, all ready to implement immediately to bulletproof your chances of survival like nobody else in the country. To make you not just into a survivor, but a leader in the troubled times ahead. You want the details? And here they come. What follows is just a small taste of what's included in this package. How $300 can get you 44 foods that will have you satisfied, nourished, and happy as a clam, no matter how long the food shortages last. And how to survive and thrive in an urban warfare situation. When the bullets start to fly in your neighborhood, they always do in a food shortage. You'll thank everything holy you had these no-hold-barred tactics in your corner. How to keep police and military out of your home, even if they've got an evacuation order. Think of the lifetime nightmares you'll save your children when you know this simple tactic. How to never find yourself in a government breadline. You don't want to be in a position of who in your family gets the last piece that you need to live on for a week. With the information shared in this chapter, you'll know exactly how to eat well. I'm talking cookies, milk, and brownies, even while your society's infrastructure collapses around you. It's easier and cheaper than you think. How to not only protect, but grow your wealth amid chaos. The elite understand that every problem has a silver lining to be exploited. Steal their tactics for using the shake-up to come out on top of the economic food chain every single time. How to exploit a living source of the world's best water, 100% for life. Most filters drain your water of essential nutrients you'll desperately need in a crisis. This is the only smart way to do it. The truth about having a gun. Having a gun is not what you think. And if you're like most people, you have just enough knowledge to get themselves swiftly killed in a crisis. We'll show you facts from fiction that actually ensure your survival when it comes to firearms. And how to win the mental game of survival. I've watched people die in a mere feet of water, simply due to fear. They didn't have the mental game of survival nailed down, and at that point, nothing else matters. On the other hand, when your mind is up to the task, you can do what others would think are impossible skills. Learn how to almost instantly take on a Superman complex when you need it most. This will also show you how to approach the coming disaster from a place of inner confidence and calm, so you sleep well, maintain your focus. So you can rise to the occasion, instead of cowering in fear like a lemming. Maybe most importantly, how to turn your personal home into a rock-solid bunker. Practically immune from major weather disasters and home invasion, so you can sleep soundly no matter what's going on outside. Hint, you can make it happen with stuff you already have lying around the house. A stockpiling trick swiped from Navy SEALs used to keep your food supplies as fresh as the day they were grown, months and even years into the future. Prepare to be part of the 1% who knows the simple food shortage secret that can not only save you thousands of dollars, but can save your life. How to keep your heat, air conditioner, refrigerators, lights all running smoothly, even if the grid collapsed, without spending a fortune on generators. Hint, generators run on fuel. Fuel will be unaffordable in a disaster. Understanding the difference between short-term and long-term food supply. Even most self-proclaimed preppers don't understand exactly how long an economic disaster and humanitarian crisis can last. Discover how to be sitting pretty while they go hungry for far less than you ever dream of paying. How to live off the ground when necessary, should you ever find yourself on the run. And be living comfortably, healthily, and even deliciously at times. So long as the sun is shining and you know these secrets, it's literally impossible to starve. Here's a big one. If you are elderly, reliant on specific medications such as insulin or a pacemaker or oxygen machines, or even overweight, history would show that you would be the first to die in a crisis. But History would also show that with preparation, there are things that even you can do to skyrocket your chances of survival. If you are dependent on government programs such as food stamps, WCK, or even Social Security, you too are candidates for early death in the event of a crisis, including a shutdown of basic government services. You need a way to change those odds without breaking the bank. I haven't yet seen real answers for this vulnerable portion of our population, which is why I go into detail on the topic here. Also covered, the $50 medicine kit that can get you out of most any medical jam, or at least buy you the time you need to get help. The real shelf life of life-saving drugs. What the drug companies won't tell you is found on page 76 of the book. And before I forget, if you are elderly, you might as well have a target on your back for invasions by those who are drug addicted. These addicts are likely to be on your block already. They know you have the opiates they are addicted to. In the event of a crisis, they will be beating down your door unless you know how to protect yourself from them. The answer to this nightmare scenario is included in a family survival course. As we both know, there are a lot of different ways an economic or natural disaster can go. Nobody can predict the future, unless you're the ones creating it. This, in a nutshell, is the power of the Family Survival Guide. The ability to not just predict, but to know what's in your future. Because you understand the rules of the game. Create it. Because the government has its plan for you. It's a plastic coffin with your name on it. If you don't want to see the inside of it, you might just want to arm yourself with the power that allows you to turn the tables before it's too late. It will never be easier, it will never be more accessible, and more affordable than what it is right now. Which brings us to the price for the Family Survival Guide. And price is a difficult thing to put on a home study course like this, because you can't put a price on being the only one in your neighborhood who has the answers when all hell breaks loose. You can't put a price on having the medicine you need to keep your mother alive, to be able to say yes when your 6-year-old asks for breakfast, and the peace of mind to make it through to the other side, gracefully. If we charge too little, it won't be valued for it is life-saving information. If we charge too much, people could miss out who truly deserve it. So we settled on a price that's both fair to both. We considered charging $997, as this is about half of what you'd pay to learn this information live. We then considered $597, considering current economic conditions. And in the end, we decided that even $597 would leave too many people unable to afford it. We decided to put survival ahead of fairness and create an offer nobody in their right mind could refuse. We settled on not $997, not $597, not even $397, just a single payment of $39. Not really much of a price at all, when you consider that in a crisis, this information can be bartered for tens of thousands of dollars, honestly. You could have people paying you in food, shelter, silver, or anything you need for just one of these secrets that helps them survive. But as you may have already figured out, we're not in this for money. We're in this for the lives saved. And to ensure there is zero doubt about what to do next, we're topping that off with the best guarantee in the business. We call it the Love It or Leave It guarantee. And it is just like it sounds. Either love what the Family Survival Guide does for the safety of you and the people you love, or it's on us. That's right. You'll have 60 full days and nights to consume all of our tips, research, and insight. And if you're not happy with any part of the course, for any reason, you get every penny you paid. No questions, no qualms, no BS, just every penny back. So the only way you can actually lose here is if you just walk away, and lose big you will. Because mark my words, when the shit hits the fan, you will think back to this moment. The moment where somebody with your best interests in mind offered to give you every skill, every insider advantage to save yourself and those you care about. Because you can be sure your children, your spouse, your parents, everyone will be looking to you, the one who was informed, the one who saw coming, for help and leadership. Don't let them down. You are their only hope in a situation like this. Not your neighbor, not your friends, and certainly not your government. You are the one who has been uniquely blessed to become aware of where we are headed. Don't let them down. By now, you may have noticed an order button has appeared on the screen. That means it's time for you to make your move. And I don't suggest you wait another second, because the countdown to global collapse has already begun and continues to tick-tock its way into oblivion. With every passing moment, remember, there will be no warnings of the economic collapse. There will be no text from your government when society starts to unravel. You must act now, because once the ball drops, it's far too late. I've given you all the information you need to save yourself, but you must act on it before disaster strikes. And now, it's time to decide if you're going to grab the life raft or drown. My suggestion? Don't be foolish when lives are at stake. Hit the button below. Fill out the secure form that follows. Empower yourself. End the fear, end the uncertainty, end the sleepless nights, and finally, and know exactly what to do no matter what happens. Hit the button now and unleash your inner hero. I'll see you on the other side with a special announcement.